There's a boy I know. He's the one I'm dreaming of.
The atmosphere in Los Angeles is nothing short of electric as the 2026 Grammy Awards approach, and one specific name is dominating every headline: Jordan. As a reporter stationed here on the ground, the narrative we are witnessing is no longer just about a talented singer. It is about a total, systemic shift in the music industry's power structure. Rumors are swirling through the corridors of the Recording Academy that this 20-year-old sensation is positioned for a historic sweep of the prestigious Big Four categories. Such a feat hasn't been achieved by a truly independent artist in the modern digital era, making this a high-stakes survival moment for traditional music institutions. The buzz is undeniable, with industry veterans and newcomers alike debating whether the old guard is ready for a new queen. Her name is being whispered in the same breath as legends, yet she remains an outsider to the system that now seeks to honor her. The countdown to the ceremony has begun, and the tension is palpable across the city. But behind the glitz, the glamour, and the red carpet, a massive question remains. Can a solo artist without a major label actually defeat the billion-dollar corporate machines that have owned these awards for decades? Our investigative team took a deep dive into the timeline of her meteoric rise, and it all traces back to a singular, incredibly bold decision made in late 2024. Reportedly walked away from a massive, multi-album contract with Republic Records, a move that many industry insiders at the time labeled as career-ending. For a young artist to reject the safety and promotional muscle of a major label is almost unheard of in today's hyper-competitive climate. However, sources close to her inner circle suggest she felt her creative voice was being systematically silenced by corporate interests and focus groups. This newfound independence allowed her to craft the raw, soul-stirring sound that has now completely captivated the Grammy voting committee. She traded the safety of a corporate paycheck for the uncertainty of artistic freedom, a gamble that seems to be paying off in ways no one predicted. By choosing herself over a contract, she redefined what it means to be a modern superstar. The industry watched in disbelief as she began to build her own empire, brick by brick, without the help of a boardroom. While the labels were left stunned and silent, what she chose to do next would change the trajectory of her career and the entire industry forever. In early 2025, a massive controversy erupted that nearly tarnished her growing reputation across the European continent. Was the heavy favorite for Norway's Grand, but she at the absolute final hour, leaving producers in a state of chaos. Initial reports cited the devastating California wildfires as the primary reason for her absence, but public skepticism grew rapidly when the official timelines simply didn't align with the events on the ground. The national broadcaster, NRK, was reportedly livid, seeking legal restitution for over 130,000 NOK regarding sunk production costs and custom-made designer attire. This led to a wave of online backlash, with critics questioning her reliability as a global performer and her commitment to her roots. The media storm was intense, and for a moment, it looked like her reputation might not survive the scrutiny of her home country. The narrative of the diva who walked away began to spread like wildfire itself, threatening to overshadow her undeniable talent and hard work. However, the wildfire story was merely a convenient cover for a much more chilling and dangerous reality she was facing privately. Digging much deeper into that mysterious 2025 disappearance, internal documents and legal filings suggest that wasn't just avoiding a concert. She was literally protecting her life. Reports surfaced that serious security threats and targeted online harassment had reached a dangerous boiling point, forcing her legal team to advise a total media blackout for her safety. This period of intense silence left millions of fans worried that her career was over before it had truly reached its peak. Instead of breaking under the immense psychological pressure, she used this forced isolation to undergo a massive and profound artistic transformation. She chose to focus entirely on her craft, while her legal representatives handled the accusations that surfaced from the aggressive Norwegian media outlets. This period of darkness was not a retreat, but rather the birthplace of her most successful and emotionally resonant work to date. It was a time of healing and creation, away from the prying eyes of the public and the threats that lingered in the shadows. While the world thought she was hiding in fear, she was actually sharpening the weapons that would conquer the charts. Once the immediate safety concerns were successfully managed, returned to the public eye with a release strategy that left the global music industry reeling. In a single calendar year, she independently dropped a trilogy of full-length albums: Secret of Love, Secret of the Soul, and Secret of the Star. From a journalistic and reporting standpoint, this was a logistical miracle for an independent creator working without a massive staff. The albums marked a definitive move away from the jazz covers that made her a viral child star, leaning instead into deep, poetic original songwriting. Critics have noted that her lyrics, which were often inspired by her grandmother's private poetry, possess a maturity that rivals seasoned musical legends. The sheer volume of high-quality content she produced forced the streaming algorithms to recognize her as a powerhouse. She didn't just release music, she flooded the world with her vision, making it impossible for the Academy to ignore her presence any longer. But as the albums climbed the charts worldwide, a new and cynical wave of industry skeptics began to emerge from the shadows. As her momentum grew into an unstoppable force, so did the whispers of foul play from within the industry. Some vocal critics began labeling her an industry plant, suggesting that her independent status was nothing more than a clever marketing ploy backed by silent, ultra-wealthy investors. In our exhaustive reporting, we found that while she does have high-level mentors like the legendary Gad, her funding and distribution remain strictly under her own personal control and ownership. The accusations surfaced in various music forums and tabloid columns, attempting to discredit her organic growth on social media platforms like TikTok and YouTube. Despite the noise and the coordinated efforts to bring her down, her live performances continued to serve as the ultimate rebuttal to anyone questioning her authenticity. She proved that her voice didn't need a marketing budget to resonate with the human heart. The sheer power of her vocals and the sincerity of her delivery silenced even the loudest of critics. If the skepticism was intended to slow her down, it actually had the exact opposite effect, fueling her fire. The definitive turning point for her 2026 Grammy campaign was undoubtedly her residency at the Las Vegas. Seeing her perform completely barefoot on that legendary stage, the same hallowed ground once occupied by her status as a vocal powerhouse of the highest order. Reporters attending the opening night described the energy in the room as transcendent and otherworldly. Viral clips of her spine-tingling performance of Unchained Melody flooded social media, garnering hundreds of millions of views and forcing the Grammy committee members to pay close attention. This residency wasn't just a series of concerts. It was a defiant statement that she could command a massive room and a global audience without a label's manufactured hype. The success of the Vegas shows proved that she was a live performer first and a viral star second. It was in stage presence and vocal control that left audiences breathless and demanding more. But even with a sold-out residency and a massive, the path to a Grammy sweep is never a guaranteed victory. The 2026 Grammy race is now being framed by historians as a classic David versus Goliath battle for the ages. The major labels have spent tens of millions of dollars on elaborate, for your consideration campaigns for their top-tier stars, while has relied almost entirely on her grassroots and viral moments. Industry experts we spoke to suggest that the voting bloc is currently split right down the middle. There is a traditionalist faction that wants to reward the established status, and a progressive faction that sees as the long-awaited future of music. This intense internal conflict within the Recording Academy is exactly what makes this year's ceremony the most unpredictable and exciting in over a decade. The industry is at a crossroads, and the vote will decide which direction it takes for the foreseeable future. The pressure on the voters is immense, as the world watches to see if the Academy will favor profit or true artistic merit. The tension is building to a dangerous breaking point as the final ballots are being cast in secret. A key and undeniable factor in her current success is the lingering influence of the late Quincy Jones, who famously called her one of the greatest talents in the world. Reporters have noted that his early endorsement acted as a golden ticket in the industry, opening doors that are usually bolted shut for independent artists. Combined with the modern, sleek production of Gad, she has successfully bridged the gap between old-school soul and new-school pop. This unique positioning is why she is being seriously considered for both Best New Artist and Album of the Year in the same night, a rarity in Grammy history. She represents a bridge between the legends of the past and the technology of the future, creating a sound that is both timeless and fresh. Her ability to channel the spirits of the greats while remaining contemporary is her greatest strength. Yet many wonder if relying on the endorsements of the past is enough to win against the current giants of the streaming era. As we wrap up our special report on the eve of the 2026 Grammys, the stakes truly couldn't be any higher for the artist or the Academy. If Jordan sweeps the awards tonight, it will signal a permanent and irreversible change in how music is created, distributed, and rewarded. It would prove once and for all that an artist can survive legal drama, security threats, and a total exit from the corporate system to reach the absolute summit of success. Whether she takes home one golden trophy or cleans out all four, the global conversation around her talent has already changed the world forever. We will be watching with bated breath as the first envelope is opened to see if history is truly made under the bright lights of Lowe's Angels. The legacy of this night will be felt for generations, inspiring every independent artist to dream bigger. The world is watching with held breath. Will the barefoot queen finally be crowned? Or will the industry strike back in one last desperate show of force?